I'm doing very well. I'm no longer mobile.
I can say, based upon tonight, this is a great night. It's a great night for all individuals around the universe. Now that things are beginning to heat up, it's even going to be greater for those that consider themselves to be of the righteous. Because that heating up will not be for the righteous, it will be for the unrighteous. And we're saying that, we are on a beautiful call tonight. We have our family all around us, all around about us right now. We are now on the United States call. We are gathered with our United States family tonight in a manner in which now we have found ourselves becoming more acquainted with one another, knowing that we all existed at some point in time, some place in time. We all existed. However, a lot of us have just gotten to a point where we are able to find one another, family-wise. You know that we had family on the planet that was like us. In other words, I'm saying, you're born into a family that you call a biological family. And at the same time, you find yourself being much different than the average one that is in that same family. And you kind of wonder, why is it that you're so different? And if you're like anybody else, and where are they? And then one day you come up on a phone call where you hear people speaking the same language that you speak. They're even acting the way you act, even though to many of those that even consider themselves to be your biological family, them and those people that you have come up on seem to be very strange people to them. And thereby, you begin to realize that you have now found your true family. I'm saying this because a lot of you tonight are first-time callers. Some of the things that you are here tonight, you are in a biological family. You are in a family now in which you have found yourself being in before, that you have heard them tell you that you're very strange. They're going to tell you something is wrong with you. But by night's end, you will realize that you're not the only person that thinks like you do, or even do the things that you do, or even feel the way you feel about things. You're going to find out that there's many people that feel and act and know the things in which you know that you often wondered where they were at. And we're saying that I want to welcome you. All of you first-time callers, I want to welcome you to the call tonight. I would say to you, as we have invited you, become a guest, a G-U-E-S-S, rather than a G-U-E-S-T. Thereby, we will be ever sitting around wondering if you should ever leave us, and we are deemed that once you realize that you are exactly like us, and we are a family, we know for a fact you will not leave. Now, we're saying that to you as a first-time caller. All of the returning callers that now, you even probably find yourself being more stranger, or we might say, you might use the word weird, because you're wondering, why now it's been 5 years, it's been 4 years, it's been 3 years since I started listening to this call, and I'm still on it. You're probably wondering, saying to yourself, is it ever going to end? Is this an ever-ending saga that I've invented, or that I have started to take this trip on? I can tell you that this trip in which you began to take, possibly 5 years ago, and some of you even 30 years ago, you started taking this trip. I can tell you that that trip now is coming to a close. It's coming to a close, though, for a new beginning, so thereby you can celebrate. You can feel, if we might say it, you can feel joyful, happy, knowing that even for those of you that have been on and listening and following these things for 30 years now, you can say that it has been night for you for that long. But remember, weeping will endure only for that night, and joy will come in the morning light. And now you have come even much more into the light, which now the light will become a beacon light, which will never be able to be darkened again. This is when the word has actually often told the people that they will be able to destroy those things of the wicked with the brightness of their coming. The brightness of their coming are all of you, the righteous people of the planet. As we have said before, United States, I do believe that we are on here on this call, and I do believe that there is 144,000 of us that have been chosen from amongst the men of the earth, and you are now considered to be a saint. And I know you're probably wondering, well, they didn't sainthood me, or you're probably saying the Pope has not yet sainthooded me, or you're possibly saying, well, I've done a little bit of different things in my life that possibly have kept me from being a saint. And I would tell you that's their definition of a saint, not the definition of Yahushua. So we're saying that United States, if I might give you that title for the moment, let me introduce ourselves and present to others exactly who we are. And those of you that are listening now, you are part of us. So let us all reflect upon who we are. We are the World Global Network Reset Restoration Network family. That's who we are. We are now 6.5 billion people strong. Plus, there's more than 6.5 billion of us that's now connected. We say 6.5 because we want to make sure that we give all of those out there who do numbers a little bit of numbering average. But we're 6.5 billion plus now. We are 198 nations strong. Yes, and we all have come together for this particular time, this particular year, that we all may be able to reset, restore, replenish all of the things that have been destroyed up to this point. Now tonight you probably realize that I'm kind of walking through real slow, because there's some place that we need to get, we need to go as a nation. This nation in which we're now of, we have found ourselves indexing, we have found ourselves identifying ourselves in a manner now, which we will be identifiable to any other nation that's on the planet, and especially the 197 other nations. They will recognize the 198 nations. They will recognize this 198 nations because it is going to be known as it is now. In the future, it shall be known as well as now, as a sovereign nation. Right now, the main word that is going all over the planet, if you have not yet been researching, if you have not yet been paying attention, you can even find this word on, if we might say, social media right now. Sovereignty. Sovereignty. Now, I know that as I come to the United States, normally I ask you to have your paper and pencils prepared to be able to take notes, because I'm giving you information in which you must be aware of, so you'll totally be prepared for what's coming towards you in the very near future. The next couple of weeks. This is what's been happening now to you for the past 5 years for some of you, and 30 years for others. I haven't given you information that now is locked in this planet in a way that it cannot be moved. Remember, it is like a tree that has been planted by the rivers of water, and it shall not be moved. Why? Because I'm giving you the prophecy as we go along, because you have not yet been able to understand these earthly things. And thereby, with me giving you the heavenly things will totally confuse you if you had received them all at once. So now as we move forward, we're giving you all the things in which you need to be able to survive. I have spoken to you about indexing. We have been indexing you. We have given you the title knowing that you are becoming a sovereign principle, a sovereign individual. And we might even say a nation within yourself as a sovereign individual based upon the God of the universe, Yah, Allah. Yah being the YHWH, Allah being all God, ALLYAH. And because of this, you are now one of the few people of the universe that have come to reality of who she and he really is. You don't have to now worry about going to some preacher in your hometown or perhaps in your city just to be able to talk to God, because you can go directly to him. You don't need some pope who's sitting in some Vatican city claiming to be something that he's not and never will be. You don't need him to go in between any, if we might say, mountain and a molehill. You don't need him to go in between those things to talk to some God for you, because you can do it yourself. And believe it or not, this has been the intention of the Vatican City now for over 1,000 years. It has been there, believing that the people will keep continuously to come to them for not only guidance, but for them to protect them from the God of the universe. Knowing good and well that they couldn't protect themselves from any God, neither could they protect themselves from any demonic devices, because they are totally caught up in them. They are the demonic vices in which has captured all mankind to this point. So they know they can't protect themselves from that. They can't protect themselves from any God. They can't protect you from God. They know this. So they would be more, if we might say, busybodies of trying to go from place to place saying those things that they ought not to about the true people of Yah Allah, God of the universe, that they might be able to still be an opportunist as they are opportunists. They are having the opportunity to go in before you into all of the rooms in which they call secret rooms, but those rooms are housing something called true secrets of blessings. And by them going in before you, they always receive the blessings before you get there. Sort of like Baal and the dragon would be a story about Daniel sprinkling flour on the floor of what they were calling the holy temples inside of the rooms in which they were calling the rooms for the feast of the Lord. And by him sprinkling the flour on the floor, they were able to obtain the truth. That truth they obtained was that the kings and the so-called queens were at night with their children and their family. They were feasting upon all of the delicacies of the people of the kingdom while everyone else was sleeping. And only until Daniel sprinkled the flour on the floor, and the next morning everyone sort of like just walked in and were able then to go from dark to light by recognizing all the different footprints that were on the floor. Knowing that if they were serving a God, then he would have been wearing many shoes and having different size shoes, because all of the small feet to large feet that were on inside of the flour. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because, now the U.S. of A. if we might call ourselves still that, some of us, you have to realize that you're going through some major situations now. And nobody truly wants to do anything of the nature of what they had vocalized in 2008. 2008, everybody was vocalizing these words. Yes, we can. Everybody was vocalizing those words. They were vocalizing these words based upon talking about a change. Yes, we can. But now the true change is coming to them. Nobody will utter these words based upon the fact that they realize now that those words were coming from the lips of those whom we can deem now to be homosexual. Stay with me. Don't get offended. You have to listen to the whole entire message of what I'm saying before you can just run off and get angry. Now that they realize that all of the so-called bills, if we might call them that, that's supposedly their greatest president of all time signed. They all had, if we might say, they had like this underwritten message that everyone was not able to focus on at the time. They had this hidden message in them. It was very much hidden in all of the bills in which were signed by him. If I might just say him, everyone should already know who he was. He was known as the 44th man, known as the Beast to come. The Beast was to usher a number of things upon the planet. One of them was called perversion, or should we call it homosexuality, and all other lewdness, in which he was to usher upon the planet, and that's exactly what he did. He did and served his purpose well. So no one can actually be angry with him because that was what he was created to do. He was to usher all of this lewdness upon the earth, and he knew that man would accept it, and they did. But all of his bills in which he would have signed had this hidden message in them. No one could be in opposition to any individual, and especially based upon his sexual orientation. Stay with me. Dynamite. You missed it then, but I told you in 2007 not to do it. I gave you this warning. I told you about this man in 1994. I told you about this same man that ushered himself into your lives in 2004. But nobody really wanted to hear it then because he had this beautiful swag. He had this beautiful, elegant way of speaking, which was not his own. Mostly written messages and very much well rehearsed. But everybody needed a king. Remember, the book had told you that there will come a time when they will pray for a king, and I will give them one, and lo and behold, they will not. They will not be able to rest with this king, because this king is going to be one that they're going to wish they had never, ever asked for. But they received him. And this king, again, I say, ushered in all lewdness, all perversion, all lawlessness. This individual ushered it in. And he brought all of his friends to the White House. Every last one of his friends made it in. And believe it or not, in the White House at that time, in that moment, anything goes. Anything could go. Anything could take place. It was kind of easy to get in and get out. Yes. Because no one really paid attention to anyone unless you were one of them. You had to be one that you had to not be concerned with your sexual orientation. You had to be one that you didn't mind whether you was in a room with male or female, regardless of your, if we might say, sex. You could have been a male and been in a room with hundreds of males, and anything can go. But you had to be in agreement to that. You have to be in acceptance to that, or you would not have been allowed in, and vice versa. I'm just putting it out there. The reason why I'm putting it out there now is because right now we have one called DJ Trump, and he's having such a vicious time, a hard time right now, trying to clear all of this up. I can assure him that he won't get it cleared up, not before the Battle of Armageddon takes place. He will not get it cleared up before what we know now would be doomsday for the United States of America. This doomsday is going to happen regardless of no matter how many houses he have to go in to clean up. You know why? Because they have already wanted it. They have already asked for it. Many of them have prayed for it. You got to remember on 2008, that night, there were even ministers, and there were ministers and their families, and they were on their knees, and there were people that were doctors and lawyers. There were people that were great people of knowledge, I would say. They were professors and doctors of professors. Yes? That were those of them that were some of the greatest actors of all time, and they still acting to this day. That were those of them that were some of the greatest singers of all time, but let's just say rappers as well. And they all were on their knees praising a God, a porcelain God, who deemed himself to be the French boy in French, Riviera, where he's still standing naked as urine pours from his body. Stay with me. This is the lewdness in which they brought to the world. And now, it's kind of hard to get it out because they haven't taped themselves, or we might say. They have wrapped themselves in something that is known as the feminine force. So now they're pretending all out that we need an army of women to save the world. We need an army of women to prove that the men are no good. But it wasn't about that. Not in 2008. It wasn't about that even in 2016. No, let me tell you what it was about. It was about homosexuality. It was about those who considered themselves to be a transgender. It was about those who wanted to change their sex. It had nothing to do with who was right or what the law proper or what those people, righteous people. It had nothing to do with that. And now, even though they're still passing laws to allow young transgenders in whom has no idea that they have even been transformed themselves by their parents. Their parents are making decisions for children only because perhaps maybe he has a high-pitched voice as a young boy. So they have decided to put him on a dress and change his whole gender. All because of his high-pitched voice. Make a decision for him, you would. We understand. And then you want everybody else to come in and agree with you just because one man decided to call it law, knowing that he was ushering in lawlessness upon the land. Now, one man is fighting. So we might say he's fighting for his life. He's fighting for his children's lives. He's fighting for the rights and lives of all of the righteous people of the planet. He's trying to bring back some morality, ethics, true moral to the White House. It's going to be hard to do because the majority of them there, and excuse me, they believe in same-sex marriage. The majority of them there. They believe in transgendering themselves. Stay with me. Not only in the White House, but you got to remember, you got the same thing in the Supreme Court. Remember, they ruled 5-4 that same-sex marriages was okay. Do you think by chance they just decided to do that just because all of them have a homosexual daughter or a homosexual son? No, that's not why they did it. But if they had a homosexual daughter and a homosexual son, I'm pretty sure right now they would have already beaten him black and blue. So that's not the reason that they agreed. They agreed because it was their preference. They are the ones that want you to accept the fact that a person's sexual orientation, it's all right for him to be dealing with someone of the same sex intimately. That's why they did what they did. That's why they're saying what they're saying. But now they're wondering why one individual is making sure that he destroyed that. And I, myself, Dr. Henderson, since the year of 2000, has been warning all of those people that considered themselves to be gay or homosexual or whatever you want to call yourself. I have been warning you since 2000 that if you were in the closet, stay in the closet. Because I told you and I gave you a warning coming straight from Yahoshua, God of the universe, that if you come out of the closet, it will only be a matter of time before that closet again finds you out, and they will not allow you to get back in the closet because they're going to drop the closet and the house on top of you. I tried to explain that to you, but you didn't want to listen then. And now you're running around whining, licking your wounds, trying to find some area to hide out in. Let me tell you that right now, even the rocks are running and asking the mountains to hide down from the wrath of Yahoshua, and they will not be hidden. I told you. But you didn't want to listen because the prophecy was not good enough for you. Or should I say, I guess the prophet wasn't good enough for you. You wanted to find someone else that could tell you better than what I was telling you. You couldn't listen to me, huh? No, he's just talking just to hear himself talk. So we can come out of the closet, we can get with our brother Obama, and we can walk across this bridge of Selma one more time. And we can pretend to be bringing in civil rights. We can pretend to be doing it for all of the black people of the world. We can do this. Nobody's going to recognize the fact that we're all not just holding hands, but we're also grasping each other around and buttocks. Nobody's going to notice that. Stay with me. Don't leave me now. I gave you the warning. I told you. And if you come out of the closet and you let yourself be known, because you have to understand, that was a true way of you indexing yourself. You identified yourself. You let everybody know. Stay with me. I want to say to a lot of you so-called celebrities out there, you better hear my voice. You came forth at a time to tell everybody it was okay while you were standing on stage kissing another man. And you were a man. Or kissing another woman and you was a woman. Let me explain something to you. You're doomed. If you think that you're not doomed, watch what's going to happen to you. You think all the nations right now are raging against this thing that you call Donald Trump? No, they're not raging against him. They're raging against the U.S. of A., those who allow homosexuality to come upon all of the nations. You got to understand, all the other nations already had homosexuality. It was just kept in the closet. No other nation that would have been verbalizing it like the USA did, that would have had as many people that would have believed that they were setting the example for the free world. Stay with me, so you don't leave me. Stay with me. I know Yahoshua won't leave me, not right now. See, we got a date with destiny for all of you. Yeah. I would love to to see her face too right now. I can hear some of you speaking. I would love to see Oprah Winfrey. I'm getting messages about her. But you have to remember, excuse me, but I think she's the same liar that says that she was molested by a family member. Well, so I guess that would have given her a real serious reason not to talk to God, not to go to God in secret, but it would have gave her a reason to change her relationship between woman and man. Stay with me. I'm not attacking her. I can tell you what, she's already attacked herself. She better get it right. Because my father right now has came back, and he's come back with a vengeance. He came back with a two-edged sword. And right now he's going to cut asunder to whomever is opposing his law based upon the fact that he created man and woman. This is the time. This is the hour. Get ready for it. You asked for it. You've been praying for it. Hurry up, Lord Jesus. Come. Now he's here. What are you going to do? You've been praying for it. All of your churches have been praying for it. Come now, Lord Jesus. Please just come down. Bless us now. Pour out this big old bucket of blessings that you say you have. I need a new car. I need a new house. Come now. Give it to me now. He's here. He told you that the only thing that you are going to receive was those things that you had done by the works of your hand. It will either be good or it would be bad. I asked you, what would have your works been? Did you uphold the laws of God, or did you uphold the laws of man? Neither one have you upheld, have you? Because we wouldn't be talking to you about fallen humanity if you had upheld the laws of man. And we definitely would not be talking to you about the laws of God if you had upheld them. We wouldn't have to talk to you about the rule of law. We wouldn't have to talk to you about the supreme law of the land being the people. And it was for the people, by the people, and it always shall remain with the people because it is the people. We wouldn't have to tell you that. We wouldn't have to tell you about sovereignty because sovereignty comes from God, not man. So we wouldn't have had to teach you about sovereignty if you had been of God because you would have knew that. Stay with me. Just walk with me just a little while longer because right now your world is going to crumble even more beneath your feet. It's getting ready to start shaking as if though it was a drunken man itself. It will shake violently. It's going to shake everything out of its place. Now, the physical fighting that's beginning to start taking place on this planet will not end until everything is back in order. Those of you that still deem that you have the right to become homosexual or gay, and that you can despise my father based upon him telling you that it was an abomination, let's just see if you get by with it. Let's just see. I say you become doomed. I say you end up in the pit. I say you do. And believe me, you better believe when I say it, it will happen, because when I say it, it will not come back void. Everything that I say that goes out of my mouth, it will take place. It will happen. Why? Because these words that I speak are not my words, but these are the words of my Father. I just so happen to be a witness of my Father, just as he is a witness of mine. He is a witness of me, and we witness of each other. Why? Because these two, they become one. And they dwell among man. That man may come to know that he is God. You take it either way you want to take it, but I say that you're doomed. If you're not on the side of the righteous, you are totally doomed. This is not a request. This is a commandment to tell you this. Yes, I still have brothers out there who wants to bother the people about a trust fund when he has no trust in himself. He can't even trust himself. He can't even trust himself to draw up the paperwork. Let's go on, if we might say, implement it. I still got brothers out there that want to talk to the people about bonds. But he has no bond because it says that a man's word is his bond, and he has no word. Thereby, his bonds are just as crooked as he is. Tell me, don't leave me now. You don't get it yet, but you will. China's got it. Japan's got it. I say Russia has it. Isn't that right? My brother Vladimir Putin, isn't that right? You got it. I say that a contract is not a contract unless it has a contract. And the contract has to be the man himself. And every contract that America has ever so-called signed with anybody, there's no contact. There's just a contract, but no contact. They have even placed people like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams' name on it, but at the same time, it has not their signature on it. And when I say their signature, if it does have their signature, it has never had their endorsement. So they themselves never showed up in the fleshly form to say that they signed it. They had an opportunity to, but they refused to because they knew that they would have been lying to say so. You don't see their name on the true Declaration of Independence signed as the author. None of them took the liberty to say that they were the author. You know why? Because they weren't the author. They were not. And they let someone else tell the lie, and they just lived it. They lived it to the point that both of them died on the same day, July the 4th. And that's what day I issued to the whole world back their sovereign, if we might call it, the true thing, their treaty. I gave them their sovereign treaty back on July the 4th, 2016, based upon the fact that these two individuals that died on July the 4th were life They lied to their children. They lied to their mothers and fathers. And just as they coined that lying phrase that George Washington chopped down a cherry tree, he never told a lie. He never told the truth. That's what they should have said. But there was no truth in it. And thereby he couldn't tell a lie because he couldn't tell the truth. You have to have both to be able to weigh or to be able to search out one from the other. And he had neither. That means he was a nobody. In the worst kind of way. But it's going to be set straight. Because remember, my father and I, we have come to set the crooked places straight. We're to make the rough places smooth. That's what we're doing now. Talk to me, Francis. You're still jackwhacking out there, aren't you? You're still carrying a pretty healthy collection plate, I would say. For the moment. You want to talk about everything but the truth. Now you want us to talk to you about condoms. Well, find time for you to talk about condoms. You have to remember that the type of sex that you have, you are not going to be able to worry about impregnating anybody, so don't worry about condoms. Stay with me. I'll keep it clean. Wow. You want to get in a fight with a knight of Malta. You would rather get in a fight with him and fire him from his position. You would rather throw him out of Vatican City. You want to even go to the extent of expelling him from the opportunity to be able to even come back and visit St. Peter's Square. All over a condom in which you never have to use. All of your partners, they can't get pregnant. Stay with me. I told you I was going to keep it clean. I'm just being straightforward. You don't have to tell the truth. Remember, I am he who was sent to tell you the truth. Based upon your own words. Based upon the book in which you call your book, your holy book. I told you that when I come back, that book was going to be very important. I explained to you that book was going to even become your life or your death. I explained to you that when I came back, I was going to use the Holy Bible as a rule and guide for your everyday death based upon you couldn't practice it. Stay with me. Don't leave me now. I told you not to forget the book. I told you to read it. I told you I was going to bring you down with that book in which you call yourself trying to lift everybody sideways with, because you never lift anybody up with it. You always lifted them sideways. Thereby you kept them confused that you might be able to run and rule their houses. Stay with me. God Almighty. You don't get it. Come on, Pope. You should tell the people what I'm saying. It puts fear in you. It makes you one day jump from being right to being wrong because you were hearing the voice and you're wondering, is this him? Can it truly be? I tell you, it is, Pope. You got it. Yeah, but unlikely. It's in something that you just don't expect it to be, right? Some short black man, bald head, right? He cannot be speaking this language which is so many years old. Wow. Even Satan himself tried to mimic the words and couldn't get them right. So how can he do it? How can he do it? How can he gain this type of language and knowledge when he's not even a century old? Be that out there? Be that as it may. It's still here. That's what I just said. You know, you understand it. Be that out there. Be that as it may, right? Be that out there. Stay with me, Pope. Don't leave me now. Go and talk to your friends, your boys. The ones that's 80 years old and 90 years old, they'll tell you that they know the whole language. It's a Latin language that comes by way of the Hebronics. Stay with me. I know it. It's not funny at all. Now you're really scary. I'm really scaring you, right? I know. He's doing it. Surely he cannot be him. Let's just say, he and I, we are one. What he brings, I bring. What he carries, I carry. He and I, we are one. And because of that, this is your hour that you were promised. That he said, I will come again just as I left. When I come back, you need to understand it will be the end of you. You've had your hour. You've had your time. But remember, who's doing time, right? Surely. Not me. Not I. I need not do time. For when time was, I was. That was never time when man was not. Yeah, make it up. I know, I'm speaking the language, but you need to understand. The Americans, 90% of them don't know what I'm talking about, but you do. You understand it well. And those of them that would say, oh, he was babbling, he wasn't saying anything, but Pope, you know better, don't you? You would tell them not even. You would tell them to be very careful, because if he uses those words on you, then the things that's happening to me will happen to you. You need to tell them that. You need to tell them this is not black magic, it's not voodoo. This is hoodoo. Yeah. Hoodoo, Hindu. Who cares? He's amusing. Yamakuta. I need us to come together. We need to sit down. There's a lot that we can talk about that we can possibly even spare the majority of the people of the planet, because then they will come to also realize that it is not for me, but it's for those that are present, that they may come to know that He is God, and thereby they will change their hearts and turn from their wicked ways. They will seek my Father's face, and my Father and I, we will hear their cries, and we will heal the land. Not until. Stay with me. Yeah, perhaps maybe He's just still pretending. Maybe He has a scam going. Maybe He wants everybody's money. I'll be taking that. I've taken all the gold. I've taken all the silver. Remember, the gold is mine. The silver is mine. You have nothing. And you still want to tell Bill Gates that he's a trillionaire now? Bill, I love you, Bill, and always will. Don't buy the hype. Don't do it. I'll shut you down tomorrow. Trust me and see. Your Fortune 500 magazine is just what it is. 500 of the greatest lies that could ever been told by mankind. You'll place people in there that they would tarnish even if I poured water on them right now, because they would rust, because they in themselves know that they have no silver, they have no gold, and they have no house to place man. They're living on lies with you, credibilities of lies. And soon it will be all destroyed in your name, based upon the fact that you refuse to bow your knees and confess with your mouth that He is who He says He is, and I'm still waiting. I got a lot of people out there waiting for this, especially in the U.S. of A. They're waiting for me to release the funds. They're ready for me to change the whole world to everybody's greatness. And I'm saying it's on you. It's on you, Pope. It's on all of you out there that consider yourself to be great. It's on you. It's in your hands. You have the ability. Your credibility can be that can move mountains. Yes, it can be. But I know they're still following the one that says that He's God right now. They're following Him. Well, He's in California, I heard. But then again, He was in the White House. They called Him the chosen one. Yeah, He took this on. And now the whole world is falling apart. But they should have watched the movie Angels and Demons, Demons and Angels. Remember, they had the one character that everybody loved him because he was allowing them all to do whatever it is that they wanted to do. And they saw him as God, just as all of the nations saw Balak. Yeah, they saw him as being the greatest leader now, the one that was going to be able to relate to everybody on the planet in a way that he would usher in greatness for all of the downfalls of mankind. And at the same time, he only built himself up and took a ride out of town on a white horse. I can say that the horse now is fading. The whiteness have become a dull brown. Beige, if I might use the term. Pretty soon, that same horse will begin to bleed. And that horse will become a blood red horse. That horse will become the horse that will be known as the fiery horse. Stay with me. That fiery horse will then usher in something that no one else really wants to deal with on this planet, and it's called death. That red horse will be trying to catch a black horse. They will, at some point in time, find themselves running neck to neck, headed for the line of finishing. Meantime, I'll stop right there. And let me do us a favor. You and I, you need it more than I. Let us take a break.
Thank you, Doctor. Apparently, you've heard Doctor over the years say that this land, known as the USA, if you want to call it that now, is Israel, the true Israel, the land of Canaan, or Canaan. All of the cities mentioned in the Bible that are pertaining to this land you can find right here and local. I'd like to bring you some information regarding Ephraim. This comes out of Jeremiah 31, 6 and 9. For there shall be a day when the watchman will cry on Mount Ephraim, Arise, and let us go up to Zion, to the Lord our God, Yah. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications I will lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way in which they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. This article comes from servantsnews.com, written by a gentleman by the name of Lyle Timmons. And it's entitled, Ephraim, Manasseh, Texas, and the Bill of Rights. The commonly offered proof that Ephraim is the British Commonwealth is that his seed shall become a multitude of nations. I'd read the description as well as the U.S. was only a single country. I accepted those proofs for 20-some years. But these questions, these anomalies, these glaring contradictions still lingered. Genesis 35:11 uses the expression company of nations. What is a company anyway? According to Strong's, the Hebrew word for company in this verse is kahal, to assemble, selves together. It is not a division created from the top down. Recently, I had reason to study American history, especially the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I learned that the original 13 colonies, of course we do know that there were 14, rejected the assembling together into the federal union for more than 4 years because they did not like the idea of losing their freedom as separated and equal governments. Not until the Bill of Rights came along guaranteeing their separate and autonomous governments, states or nations, did they accept the federal union. The 10th Amendment is, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. In other words, the United States is not a hierarchical system controlling the 50 states. It is a creation of the Constitution, given limited power by representatives of the 50 states. Why weren't we taught that in public school? There's one bit of conflicting data that has a bearing on this controversy. I'm a Texan. You Texans out there will understand this instantly. Texans are a unique people. Texans are also a very independent and proud group of people, no less independent and proud than the original colonies. Texas was legally a nation of its own for 10 years before it became a state. I understand that never did happen, but that's what he says. I am a Texan first, then a citizen of the United States. Texans feel they are loosely bound to the federal union, though the federal government sees it differently. Even today, many Texans believe we are not simply a state, but a nation. Also, please consider the Hebrew word for nation, which is gawi, which comes from a root word meaning amassing, as of locusts. Each separate colony was amassing of like people. Each colony was unique. They had different laws regarding religion, taxes, etc. Ask almost any Texan if Texas is unique, he will tell you. Conclusion, Texas was a separate nation, one of the company of nations that Ephraim was to become. Ephraim, the USA, assembled themselves together to become an assembly of states, a company of nations. This was a better understanding of the Bill of Rights. The most damaging argument to the contrary is now crumbled. So now we see that Ephraim, the younger brother, did become the younger country. Yet Manasseh was great, but Ephraim literally did become greater than he, the incredibly great and wealthy United States of America, as prophesied. Besides the value of this being a new truth, the precise understanding of Ephraim in prophecy has an even greater importance. Look in your concordance. There are many more references to Ephraim than to Manasseh. To more fully understand the USA's role in this end-time scenario, particular attention must be paid to each and every prophecy